So I started asking the question, if I were to come and spend some time with yourselves, and I could use a relatable industry example that is close enough to you that you would understand it, but not so close that I would be in breach of some of the conversations you'd be having, what kind of examples would you use? And then I looked at some of the work we do in our research firm, and I thought what I'm about to share with you is something you might find some value in. So circa 2017, 2018, when we were publishing our first book, The Magna Carta, having just finished that research, we had started with an original piece of thesis, and it's the thesis I want to leave with yourselves here today. Here was the question. If you took two companies operating in the same market, selling the same products to the same customers, hiring people that went to the same schools, buying from the same suppliers and pricing the same ways, and you looked at them over a period of time, is it possible one would outcompete the other? And if it is, why? We did this analysis across all kinds of industries. So for instance, I got to spend time with the leadership team at Clicks and compared them with Dis-Chem, got to spend time with Ivan Salzman, the founder of Dis-Chem, and his leadership team. We did a similar same sort of research in banking and financial services and insurance, in agriculture. But the best part is what I want to share with you here today, because we then did the same sort of research in the retail business. We did wholesale as well, but we looked at retail. And we compared companies that all of you here know well, Pick n Pay and Shoprite. And what we wanted to understand was the following. Is it possible one outcompetes the other? And if it is, why? Think about it this way. Pick n Pay and Shoprite kind of both buy from the same suppliers. They go to Angloval Industries, AVI, they go to Tiger, they go to Premier. They go to the same suppliers and buy the same products. They have a similar distribution model. Pick n Pay was later to go with the DC, but a very similar distribution model. They buy technology from the same customers and the same suppliers. If you go to the SAP conference, what's called Sapila, I've had the privilege of speaking there twice. Both Pick n Pay and Shoprite have their core technology infrastructure sitting under SAP. So technology is the same. Same product, same suppliers, same tech. They have the same distribution mechanisms. They build out stores and distribute to those stores using their distribution mechanism. Same distribution. They raise capital from the same banks. Money is money is money. Doesn't matter who you get it from. Terms on bonds are terms on bonds. Same capital allocation. Then you might think it has to do with talent. That's not true. The industry is so incestuous that it's not uncommon for you to meet one guy working as an executive in one company. Then if you wait 5 years, you go to their competitor, they work there now. For those of you here who deal with these companies, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's people move around. If you find an executive working at ABSA, go talk to that executive 5 years from now. It's not uncommon to find them at F&B or Nedbank. These industries are incestuous. So let's just go back to our analysis. Same suppliers, same products, same pricing, capital structure, same distribution, same talent. Isn't this what they teach us in business school are the things that make companies different? So if it isn't this, then why does one company outcompete the other? Now, to my non-believers in the room, because I can still see there are a few, I'm going to show you now my next graph. If this graph doesn't impress you, you can go. I don't care, it's fine. I'm going to show you now my next graph. So what we did here is we looked at revenues over a 10 calendar years, 11 financial years. These are revenues only. I spent years working in wholesale retail. We could do revenue per square meter. We could do margin contribution or contribution margin to head office. We could do rebate income. They're like a whole host of things we could look at. But for the purposes of simplifying our conversation, I thought what we should do is just spend time looking at top line. 11 calendar years, 10 financial years, because that's a long enough time that it's not a blip. You can be lucky for a year or two. You can't be lucky for 10 years. The market adjusts, right? You can be clever for a year or two. You can't be clever for 10 years. Because both of these companies, by the way, it must be said, both of them are listed. So just to be clear, if any one of them changes strategy, by law, they have to publish it in the stock exchange news service, the SENS announcement by the JSE. They have to tell the market that they've changed their strategy. And in the market is their competitors reading the same notice. Could you imagine operating in a business where the stuff you're sharing here, every day if you change strategy, you have to tell your competitors. So strategy, you have no advantage. No advantage on people. Isn't this so cool? It's nice. No, it's very nice. I'm still coming. Don't be impressed yet. And then you'll see, we dollarize the numbers. You see there, the numbers are dollarized on both ends. That's just because if I put rands there wasn't enough space for my graph. So we dollarize. We assume a 10 to 1 assume a 10 to 1 rate. So let's now have a look at the numbers, shall we? As Jay-Z says, the other Jay-Z, not our Jay-Z, he says, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I always thought it was my professor who taught me finance, but then I listened to a Jay-Z song and he said it first. So check this out. In the year of our Lord 2003, Pick n Pay was a 30 billion rand a year business. Fast forward 10 financial years, 11 calendar, and she grew from 30 billion top line to 64 billion top line. That's a 2.2x growth in 10 years. That's a doubling of your business over a period of a decade in a highly competitive, highly saturated market where you have very little strategic competitive advantage. Who here thinks that's a good result? I do. I think it's a good result. I don't know if it's great, but it's good. It's good. By the way, for those of you whose hands are not up, you're either not paying attention or you're lying. And I'll tell you why, because all of you here have money in pensions that are invested in Pick n Pay. So you better be happy with the performance. Because over that period of time, you did. Over that period of time, you would have paid out the executive team and great bonuses. The board got to keep their job. It's a good performance. But now let's compare it. Let's look at Shoprite. Not too far from here at Brackenfell. Same time, 2003, Shoprite does 29 billion. Said differently, in 2003, Pick n Pay was R1 billion larger than Shoprite. But we don't think $1 billion is a lot of money, but let me put it this way, the average year has 52 weeks in it. So if your business is R1 billion larger than your competition, that means you make 20 million more than your competition every week. Every trading week. 20 million, eh? And by the way, you got to remember, you guys work in the supply chain of these businesses, but you got to remember that for a lot of food retailers, they make 3% gross margin. When I was working at Metro, that was our gross margin on food. 3% gross margin on food, 8% gross margin on gen merch. You earn 11% rebate on food and about 7% rebate on gen merch. So 3% gross margin, as you know, means that a customer walks into the shop with a little trolley, they buy stuff for 100 rand. The shopkeeper is making 3 rand profit from 100 rand before rent, salaries, and related expenses. So if I'm R1 billion bigger than you in a 3% gross margin business, do you understand why it might be a little bit difficult for you to catch up? So let's watch what happens. Shoprite grows from 29 billion to 60 in 6 years. Watch what happens next, Gert. They go from 60 to 97 in 3 years. Shoprite added 37 billion rand. I'll say it again. They added 37 billion rand in new income over 3 years. Look at your calendar. 3 years is 36 months. Shoprite added R1 billion in new income every month for 3 years. Can I say what you're all thinking? Forgive me. Fuck. I know, that's what I said. I was like, yo, forget the land. Let's nationalize Shoprite. What are we talking about? By the way, I went and looked. You know, they just recently published their latest financials, eh? Did you know what they made this past year? 258 billion. They're twice the size of this now. 258 billion. I was like, okay, let me think. So, follow me. Shoprite just made 260 billion. That's as near as makes no difference. 280, 144 times 2 is 288. So it's safe to assume Shoprite is making, on average, work with the law of averages here, 20 billion rand a month. Has 4 weeks in a month, that's 5 billion a week. 5 working days in a week, that's $1 billion a day. 10 working hours every day, that's 100 million an hour. 60 minutes every hour, that's 1.666667 million every single minute. Exig. Yeah. Say that. She said Aibo. That's what I said. That even me, I was like, yeah. No, it's not right. That's the level of performance. To be clear, they work in the same market as their competitors.